What was the last thing you cried over? Before we start with the first story, please hit a subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay updated with us. Story 1. My dad died on January 17th. It's been a challenging last few months to say the least. We just took our kids on a family vacation last week, and it's all so weird that I can't tell him how it went or show him photos after we returned or let the kids tell him about all the things they saw. I told my wife yesterday that I was feeling very isolated and alone in the world now that he's gone. Her parents are gone, my parents are gone. Our relationship with our siblings is practically non-existent. It's so weird to have lost the one remaining person in my life I talk to regularly about how my family is doing. Story 2. Losing Bernadette, my dear cat, has been a heavy blow. Her passing just 2 Tuesdays ago left an emptiness that's hard to bear. She wasn't just a pet, she was a cherished companion, always there with her comforting presence. Her absence now feels like a gaping hole in my life. Every corner of my home holds memories of her, reminding me of the joy she brought. Though time may soften the pain, the love and bond we shared will never fade. Bernadette's playful spirit and gentle purrs are deeply missed, yet they remain etched in my heart. While I mourn her loss, I find solace in the beautiful moments we shared together. Rest in peace, dear Bernadette. You'll always hold a special place in my soul. Story 3. I almost always delete my voicemails, but I realized randomly yesterday that I have all these voicemails again on my phone. Went through to delete them and realized I had a 40-second voicemail from my Nana and Pop-Pop's number from the month my son was born in 2020. So I listened. It was my Pop-Pop thanking me for getting him candy and hoping that I'd come over the next day. BC, he wants to see the baby. My Pop-Pop died in 2021. Story 4. I cried yesterday near the end of a book. I don't even remember the scene very well. Someone left and came back. Big deal. Dad's back from the milk store. Anyone who can't cry, come hang out with me for a while. I'll teach you my ways. We'll watch a kids movie and I'll be blubbering by the end, bet. I'd like to blame it on my dad dying last year, but honestly, I was already like this. Although, not gonna lie, I teared up just now, so this might be a secondary root cause. Can you have 2 root causes? I'm saying yes. Okay, teary eyes are gone. Just 1 tear, so it doesn't count as crying. I could have blamed it on allergies. Okay, sheesh pulled together. As long as no one mentions Bluey for a while, I'll be okay. Story 5. My brother. He died in a motorcycle accident on July 11th, 2023. It's been hard on me and my family, to say the least. You just can't prepare for a freak accident like that. I've lost a lot of family over the years, but losing my brother at the age of 38 goes against the laws of the universe. But I did learn a couple of things from it. Wear your freaking helmet when you're riding, even if it's not required by law, and be kind to each other. And cherish every moment you have in this world, because tomorrow is uncertain. Story 6. The last time I cried was when I watched a video of a family reuniting with their lost dog after months apart. The dog's reaction was so full of joy and relief, but you could also tell how hard it had been for the family during the separation. Seeing the pure happiness and love in that moment, mixed with the pain of imagining what they went through, really got to me. It reminded me of how deep our connections with our pets can be and how much their presence means to us. Story 7. The last time I cried was when I got a call about a friend who was really struggling with feeling sad. They sounded so overwhelmed with everything going on in their life. I felt really sad too, because I couldn't make their pain go away. It made me realize how fragile life is and how important it is to be there for the people we care about. Even if we can't fix everything, just being there to listen and support them can make a big difference. It's like being a friend who helps carry their heavy backpack when it's too much for them. Even though I couldn't take away their sadness, I could be there to share it with them and help them feel less alone. Story 8. At 41, standing tall at 195 centimeters and having built a solid career and decent life from scratch, you've faced your fair share of challenges. Yet one shadow loomed large: the strained relationship between your dad and his brother, which haunted you and your brother. Despite being complete opposites, you hoped to avoid their fate. But last week, a final argument erupted, and you felt it might mark the end of your bond. The weight of that realization hit hard, and tears flowed freely for the first time in a while. It wasn't just about the argument. It was about the fear of repeating history, of losing a connection you cherished. In those tears lay the pain of shattered hopes and the uncertainty of what lies ahead. But amidst the sadness, There's a glimmer of resolve, a determination to break free from the past and forge your own path, one that doesn't end in silence and estrangement. Story 9. My brother disappeared 11 years ago. He had a nervous breakdown after the death of our mother. It was 11 years on Monday that she died, and it's always rough for me because I lost them both that day, really. There's a scene I watch from a series of unfortunate events that reminds me of him. I'd give anything to sit and talk with him again. It's a heavy cross to bear that we won't grow old together. Some days it's heavier than most. Story 10. Little discussion I had with my couple yesterday. I've said sorry in a big text, but he left me on scene. I could have also called or gone to see him today, but I doubt he would be willing to see or listen to me. That's just how he is. Discussions and differences are normal. We are human after all, of course. But sometimes when we discuss, he just doesn't respond until a couple of days. I know that he takes his time to reflect, but at the same time, it's as if every day that passes without being willing to resolve the conflict, something breaks more inside of me. I'm still waiting for his answer. Story 11. This'll fall into the void, but my local community. I'm young, black, and look like a woman, though I'm NB. I work in the media as a photographer. I love photography. I was also born, raised, and still live in a predominantly white conservative community. More often than not, I'm invisible unless I'm being an inconvenience. When I'm being an inconvenience, strangers are quick to try and put me in my place. This week, multiple strangers have tried to bar me from doing the job I've rightfully been assigned. This isn't uncommon, though never happens when I'm with my white male coworker. It's never event security, but usually older white bystanders. They see a young black woman with a camera and badge entering the press zone and must intervene. It's like they can't wrap their head around a black woman holding a job like mine. A nice camera and access to private spaces that they don't. I say, no worries, I'm actually with the press. And I'm still met with scoffs, sarcasm, or, my favorite, they'll double down, desperate to be right. I know they're wrong. The sight of me entering an exclusive place is not a real inconvenience. I have a right to exist and do the job I love. But by God, is it exhausting when your own community frequently insists otherwise. It's been a long week, but I have better days ahead. Story 12. Okay. So I got divorced 7 months ago, and I was obviously very upset about it. I cried, like a lot, and I begged the universe to send me a sign, a kiss, a touch, something to prove I was going to come out of this mostly intact mentally, emotionally. So many times I begged and pleaded on my knees like a whore confessing her crimes in church. I went on a few dating apps because I felt it was important to get back out there and was finding zilch. Absolutely mucking nothing. Until about a week ago. The most recent time I teared up was this morning when we were texting before he had to work and he said I was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. I don't feel beautiful most of the time. X certainly didn't make me feel beautiful. But this man I haven't even gone on a date with yet, that's tomorrow, makes me feel seen in a way I never have before. And it's gorgeous and lovely, and oh God, thank you, universe. From the bottom of my jagged little busted up heart. Story 13. My boyfriend's mom and I are just getting to know each other, and I treated her to lunch this week. During the conversation, my BF's shooting came up. He was mugged in DC in 2008 and shot through his body from shoulder to hip. He barely survived. For 10 years, his life was a mess. PTSD, physical recovery, jail, debauchery, DUIs, rehab, counseling, minimum wage jobs, no real possessions. In 2018, he survived a suicide attempt and decided that was it. Sober since then, he's come so far and his story is incredible. He wants to write about, and I think he should. Since we've met almost 2 years ago. He's gotten a very well-paid position in the industry he was in before the shooting, bought a fancy car in cash, has a new wardrobe, plans vacations, does yoga 4 times a week, talks to his family every day. Above all, he is the most loving and patient person I've ever known. He adores me and is so positive and supportive, never without a smile on his face, making me laugh every day. Generous, calm, joyful. He's a miracle. I sat with his sweet mother and listened to her repeat in her own words the experience of the shooting. So many of us might have something like that permanently turn us into a shell, but not him. I drank my cappuccino, thanked God I have him in my life, and quietly wept. Story 14. The loss of my uterus. I got it removed a few months ago. Had one pregnancy that didn't stick, and I'm 34 and women keep asking me, Why didn't you have kids? Do you not want them? OMG. I can't imagine not being a mom. OMG, you're not going to marry your long-term BF. You're not even going to be a wife? Did you get it for the 4 billions movement? What do you do if you're not a wife and a mom? You must be. One of those career women podcasts that say, if you're not a wife and a mom, you're not contributing to society. I am in a mild antidepressant now, which helps. A lot of my tearful days are contributed by hormones and mourning my womb. I ride motorcycles. I'm college educated and do have a career. I am divorced, and so is my guy, and we don't want to be married again. But I still feel like I'm being outcast, and now that I don't have a traditional woman title, especially being in the South, women look at me appalled. The few female friends I do have are all moms and wives. Some say they envy me, most pity me, which is not what I want. I see myself as kind of a revolutionary. No, I'm not the only woman that has done this, but I'm certainly different from most of the women I personally know. I get freedom. I get to spend money on myself. And then I get the question, well, who's going to take care of you when you die? If you're having kids for that reason, then you shouldn't be having them. And you can still adopt, or, oh, it's so sad you're missing out of the greatest love of your life, am I? My partner is the greatest love of my life. He has 3 kids that are now 4, 12, and 16, and I don't regret my decision. I love them dearly. But I get to have a break when they go back to their mom's house. I think my setup is good, but people judge and have their comments, which they're allowed to do, but I don't think unless you have been in my shoes, that maybe some of those comments are outright rude and unnecessary, not to mention a moot point. But yes, it makes me cry sometimes. Story 15. My sister died. We were no contact because she never visited our dying father or returned the call when told he died. Pop was a fantastic dad. He did nothing to deserve that. After her death, I learned she was a severe alcoholic with 3 kinds of cancer and COPD. She refused to quit smoking, drinking. She cut everyone off and became a hermit. She likely ended her life, but was dead so long they couldn't be sure without an autopsy. I've cried because she chose to hide the truth, and that may be why she never visited our dying dad. I cried because our dad would have been heartbroken to know how his oldest died. I cried because I felt so unsafe with her that I didn't attempt to reconnect. It's been a heartbreaking, horrible situation, and I have another sibling following that same path. All right, folks, that's a wrap. If you like more of this, please hit a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also share your thoughts in the comment below. I'll see you in the next video.